Welcome. I would like to welcome you to another episode of the Unpopular Podcast. This is the man, the myth, the legend, Jalen Hunter. And if you do me a favor, please subscribe to wherever you're listening. Please subscribe to wherever you're watching. It definitely means a lot to me. You know, greatness looks like something. Greatness looks like something we've never seen. You know, last episode I talked about the difference between a star and a superstar. Well, there's also, difference in greatness and talent. You know, there's a lot of people that have talent. There's a lot of stars. There's a lot of superstars. I mean, of course, if you're a superstar, if you're a star, you have talent. But then there's greatness. There is, I'm not saying greatest. I'm just saying greatness. They just, those people, those teams, they just shine. They just look different. And that is what we're seeing with the Golden State Warriors. First and foremost, congratulations to the Golden State Warriors for making it to this year's NBA Finals. The finals start on June 2nd, I believe, which is next Thursday. So shouts out to Golden State. This is a dynasty. Whether they win it or not, this is a dynasty. The Golden State Warriors this is their 6th NBA Finals in 8 years. In 2 of those years, Klay Thompson was out. Another one of the years, Steph Curry was pretty much out. It just, greatness looks like something, man. Let's first start with the Golden State Warriors, man. It's, one thing that I say a lot on this show is there's a reason why teams are incompetent. There's a reason why teams stay incompetent for a while. It's because they don't know how to. Some people don't know that they're even incompetent. Some people just don't know how to rise up from that incompetent ranks. Golden State was one of the laughing stock franchises of the league. Not recently, but they used to. People used to Golden State. You'd be hard pressed to find a Golden State fan. You know what I mean? Like they were horrible. Then of course they went on a resurgence with the We Believe team, and then of course they had Monte Ellis and stuff. But it's something about an organization that knows what they're doing. Doesn't mean they have to win all the time, but it's something to be said when an organization knows what they're doing. And Golden State, of course, some luck, because to get to the mountaintop, I guess you can say, there isn't just all talent. If that's the case, LeBron James would have 20 championships. There has to be some type of luck. There has to be some type of smart maneuvers. There has to be sometimes you have to do things that other people can't see or can't even fathom. For instance, Golden State. They were very lucky to get Stephen Curry, the 7th pick of the draft, when the Minnesota Timberwolves picked 2 point guards right in front of Steph Curry, which was Ricky Rubio and Johnny Flynn. You get a little bit of luck when Klay Thompson and Draymond Green are sitting, Draymond Green I think was like the 35th pick and like Klay Thompson like the 15th or something. You get lucky there. You get lucky because nobody thought that Steph Curry would be who Steph Curry is. Nobody thought Klay Thompson would be who Klay Thompson is. Nobody thought Draymond Green would be who Draymond Green is. You get lucky when, early on, you make the monumental decision at the time to trade Monte Ellis and start building your team around Steph Curry, especially the Monte Ellis, who is a fan favorite, who did really well in Milwaukee, who also did really well in Dallas. A fan favorite, Monte Ellis. You also get lucky when Steph Curry has bad ankles. Bad ankles, he twists a lot. He has to get surgery, so you can pay him a very team-friendly contract because you don't know, one, the type of Steph Curry you're going to get, 2, how long you're going to get him. You get lucky when you're able to get players like Andre Iguodala from when he hits free agency. Like you're able to get a player like or David Lee was still on the team. You're able to get those type of players. But while there's luck, there's also smart moves. And moves, like I said, that sometimes you don't see or you don't see it matriculate until it does. Sometimes it doesn't, but sometimes it does. And I'm talking about the Andrew Wiggins move. You see, I was one of the people that said this was Andrew. All right, so for people that don't know, Golden State had D'Angelo Russell. You have D'Angelo Russell. You trade D'Angelo Russell to Minnesota for Andrew Wiggins, former number 1 overall pick. The narrative with Andrew Wiggins is he's not that good of a player because he didn't live up to the number 1 overall pick status that pretty much comes with that pick. And a lot of people are killing Nick Wright, one of the hosts for First Things First and Fox Sports. They're killing him, but it wasn't just him. I'll shoot him some type of bail. It wasn't just him. There was a lot of people that were questioning the move, especially seeing as they only had D'Angelo Russell for a couple months. But you make moves like that not knowing what the outcome would be. You're gambling because you don't know. You know Andrew Wiggins has a lot of positive attributes, but you just don't know. You don't know if he's able to put it together, especially when you have a nucleus like Steph Curry, Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, and not to mention the fact that all these players thrive with the ball in their hands. Not saying they can't thrive, without, especially Steph Curry, and probably one of the most selfless players we've ever seen, and Andrew Wiggins is also a player that thrives with the ball. So you make moves like that. You have KD. Shouts out to KD. You know what? Before we move on. So Golden State, let me park here and let me touch on this real quick. Golden State clearly, like I just said, makes it to their 6th NBA Finals in 8 years. So, of course, the conversation, I've heard a lot of conversations this week. Is Steph Curry on the same level, or is Steph Curry better than Magic Johnson? Is Steph Curry eye to eye with LeBron James? Because Golden State and Steph Curry winning, congratulations, by the way, winning the first ever Western Conference Finals MVP, I think the Irving Magic Johnson trophy. Winning the first one ever. Shouts out to him. But does this finally put to bed the fact that Kevin Durant isn't that good or needed Steph more than Steph needed him? Let me say this. One thing that we need, I understand that it's fun to debate who is better, who is this, who is that. But that's debating. That's just fun and games. But what people like to do is people like to attach one person's success and bring down another person. What do I mean by that? All this week I've heard, KD should be ashamed. I didn't think it was the right move for KD to leave Golden State. But that was his decision. He decided to go play with Kyrie Irving. I didn't think it was the smartest move, but that doesn't negate the fact that Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant is still, in my opinion, arguably a top 10 player in this league. Now, we can have debates. We can discuss where Steph ranks in the pantheon of players. But one thing that is equivocally clear is Kevin Durant is that dude. And just because Golden State's a good team, Golden State's a good franchise, Steph Curry's an all-time player, Klay Thompson's an all-time player, Draymond Green's an all-time player, all Hall of Famers, by the way. I think Andre Iguodala could possibly be a Hall of Famer, who knows? But because you have that doesn't mean that Kevin Durant is I understand he got swept. I understand that. I understand they got swept this year. I think the only team that got swept. But it doesn't negate the fact that let's really be careful how we talk about some of these players, man. Like for it's we just need to chill, bro. Because quiet as it's kept, yes, I do believe that Kevin Durant needed Golden State to finally get over the hump and win those championships. However, let's not act like Golden State didn't need Kevin Durant. I'm not going to say any names of who they replaced, but come on now. It was an equal need. And I'll give my prediction probably next episode about who wins the NBA Finals, but if I choose Golden State, that doesn't negate the fact that Kevin Durant was still important for that team. That's all I'm saying. And Kevin Durant is still Kevin Durant, bro. Let's make that very clear. But let's get back to this, man. Steph Curry. We talked about greatness, right? One thing that I've also heard this week is Steph Curry is the most he revolutionized the game, which I do agree. He's the most influential player ever. I don't know about that. I mean, Michael Jordan's influential. In my opinion, Allen Iverson's one of the most influential players we've ever seen. LeBron, Kobe, stuff like that. But I will say that we're looking at a once in a generational player. I know that name, that word, that phrase gets tossed around a lot. Once in a generation. But we're looking at a once in a generational player. They're players that can shoot. Trae Young can shoot. Jordan Poole can shoot. There's a lot of players that can shoot the ball. But there's not too many that can shoot. I mean, Steph Curry is the greatest greatest shooter we have ever seen. Just greatness looks different, man. Greatness looks different. And think about this, man. We look at players like Kevon Looney. We look at players like Jordan Poole, Jonathan Kuminga, which I think I've heard. I don't know. I'm gonna say Kuminga, but I've heard so many pronunciations of this man's name. I don't know what it is. I'm just gonna say Jonathan Kuminga. But we see nobody has not outside of Monte Ellis, and that's nothing against Monte Ellis. I think it was his team, and you see a young Steph Curry. It's hard to gel, but outside of one, but we've never seen somebody not work with Steph Curry. That's a skill in and of its own, man. The fact that you're able to get along and work with anyone, I mean, and also not just work, but get the best. Again, and I'm not just going to contribute this to Steph Curry, but I do think a lot of it is Steph Curry. Look at Andrew Wiggins, bro. Spoiler alert, Andrew Wiggins is arguably, and I guess I will save this for next episode, but Andrew Wiggins is possibly the key to Golden State winning the NBA championship this year. Andrew Wiggins, the same Andrew Wiggins that a lot of people attached as a bust. Look at Jordan Poole. A lot of people are saying is a carbon copy of Steph Curry. Jordan Poole was damn near out the league. Now, yes, I'm not just saying it's all Steph Curry. Of course, you had to go and work on your game and stuff, but Jordan Poole's working with Steph Curry. Golden State, man, I also think that this is something that we will never see from a team. Because I know a lot of people are talking about LeBron James. Yes, we know how great LeBron James is. I think going to 10 straight NBA Finals. Yes, we know LeBron James, in a lot of people's opinion, is the greatest basketball player of all time. There will never be another LeBron James. But when we talk about a team aspect, just look at what happened this year. As I said before, this is Golden State's sixth NBA championship in 8 or sixth NBA Finals appearance in 8 years. What has happened in that 8 years? Well, Golden State has won. Let me say, the nucleus of Steph Curry, Draymond Green, and Klay Thompson has a combined 3 championships. One of the championships, of course, was 2016. They lost to LeBron James and Cleveland Cavaliers, but a lot of things happened. I'm not taking away nor discrediting Cleveland winning that championship, but Steph Curry didn't have his best game. 5, 6, and 7. Draymond Green got suspended a game. Andrew Bogut went out with injury. Andre Iguodala went out with injury. A lot of things happened. You get Kevin Durant, 2017. Actually, let's go through the whole thing. Let's do that. 2015, young Warriors. Now you go against Cleveland. LeBron James, Kyrie Irving goes out the first game. They don't have Kevin Love, and Golden State wins that series. Now, a lot of people are saying, Golden State, they got lucky because you didn't have to play, a fully charged Cleveland Cavaliers. We just said 2016 what happened. I failed to mention that this is the same team in 2016 that went 73-9. The best regular season record ever. 2017, you get Kevin Durant. You go 16-1 in the playoffs that year. And the only one was in the finals against Cleveland, and they, I think, hit like 20-something threes. They were just going crazy. 2018, you almost lose to the Rockets in the Western Conference Finals. You don't, though, and you play Cleveland. I think they swept them that year. 2019, everybody falls apart. You go against Kawhi Leonard and Toronto Raptors. Everyone falls apart. Steph Curry's hurt. Kevin Durant ruptures his Achilles. Klay Thompson tears his ACL. Boogie is hurt with a quad injury, I believe. Everyone falls apart, and you lose. Next year, Kevin Durant's gone. Steph Curry's playing, I think, breaks his hand. He misses the rest of the season. The year after, or the next year, Steph Curry's going crazy. You go into the play-in, the first year of the play-in, I believe. You lose to the Lakers because LeBron says you can't see, but he just shot at the rim that was in the middle, and then you lose to Ja Morant. Now you retool. Jordan Poole's playing incredible. You get Klay Thompson back. You get Draymond Green. You got a healthy Steph Curry, and now you're in the finals. We will never see a run like this. And when I said what has happened in those 8 years, well, we had a great Phoenix team for the 2 of those years. Now, I'm not saying that they're just completely over, but Phoenix was the number 1 overall seed this year. Now, they ultimately lost to Luka and the Dallas Mavericks, but they were the number 1 overall seed. You had Milwaukee, who a lot of people, including myself, thought that this could be a two-peat year because they won the year before. You've had Nikola Jokic win two separate two back-to-back MVPs. Joel Embiid has come to his own. Hell, the Ben Simmons saga. There's been so much to happen. And that really shows you just how tough it is to just make it to an NBA Finals. Like, look at some of the great teams that we talk about that haven't made. Hell, now while I'm shooting this, or as I'm recording, I think I think Boston and Miami is playing currently. So I don't know who's winning. But one thing I do know is Boston has been knocking at the door for this entire time. I think they've made like 3 or 4 Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, they had Kyrie. All I'm saying is it is tough to make it to it. Just make it to an NBA Finals. And this is Golden State's 6th year. Or no, I'm sorry. 6th appearance in 8 years. That's incredible, man. Also, shout out to Klay Thompson, man. Shout out to Klay Thompson having probably 2 of the worst injuries back to back. You had a torn ACL in the finals, so you know you're going to miss the whole season. And then you have a ruptured Achilles. I don't think you understand. Like, a ruptured Achilles is the worst basketball injury possible. Now, of course, modern medicine has definitely changed the probability and success rate of coming back. I mean, i.e., look at Kevin Durant, now look at Klay Thompson, but Klay Thompson, a lot of times, even medicine, you're never going to be the same. Before, of course, we saw these 2 anomalies, but it's just a great story, man. Whether they win, whether the Golden State wins or not, congratulations to Golden State for being, again, making it to the NBA Finals this year. Congrats to Steph Curry for winning the first Irving Magic Johnson Award, which is the Western Conference Finals MVP. Congratulations for Klay Thompson for prevailing. You know what I mean? I understand I think it was 941 days. That might be 941 days. Do you understand how long that is? That's a little less than 3 years. Man. Shouts out to Golden State. Now, on the flip side of that, you have a winner. You have to have a loser. And in the Western Conference, the loser at this point was Luka Doncic and the Dallas Mavericks. And you're starting to hear it. You're starting to hear the saying, the phrase that we always hear after a young team or a young player gets bounced out of the playoffs or in any sport. You hear it. They'll be back. They will be back. You heard that when Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals lost in the Super Bowl to the Rams. Hell, you even heard that when Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers lost in the Super Bowl to Kansas City. You heard that when Kansas City lost in the Super Bowl to the Buccaneers. And now you're hearing that with Luka Doncic and Dallas Mavericks lose to the Warriors. One thing, I've said this before, but one thing I will say is just be careful about that. When I say be careful about the they'll be back. Because I think that kind of discredits how tough it is to get there. I'm not negating the fact that they got there. Shouts out for getting there. Hell, nobody, including myself, thought that outside of Nick Wright, thought that the Dallas Mavericks were going to make it to the NBA Finals, especially when you saw that they got the 4th seed and had to play Phoenix the second round. I thought they were going to beat Utah. I mean, it's Utah. But nobody, people thought this. I said there was a point in the regular season where I thought, I don't see how a team can beat the Phoenix Suns 4 times out of 7 games. There was a time in the regular season where I, along with multiple people, thought that. So that Dallas team had to go up against that. And they ultimately prevailed. Luka went crazy. Luka has kind of morphed himself into one of the best playoff performers we've ever seen in just 4 years in the league. But be careful about they'll be back. I think it's a cautionary tale. You know what I mean? Now, I'm not saying they can't be back. Hell, we never know what's going to happen. But look at some of those teams that we thought would be back. Last year, we thought Phoenix was going to be back. They looked incredible this entire year. They lost in the second round. We thought Milwaukee was going to be back. Lose Chris Middleton, you lose in the second round to Boston. We thought Kevin Durant coming to the East was going to be back to the NBA Finals, just not on Golden State, but back to the NBA Finals. He just got swept in the first round. We thought the 49ers, like I said, would be back after losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. The best they got was the divisional championship. Conference championship. I'm sorry. So I'm just saying, man, it's and think about what happens next year. Next year, Golden State, and we're just talking about the West. Golden State will probably be back, whether they win or lose. They will be back, or they'll still be good. Utah, see what happens with them and Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. New Orleans, they're going to retool. You might get Zion back. See what happens with Zion, Brandon Ingram, and CJ McCollum. The Minnesota Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns. Denver is going to have Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. back, along with Nikola Jokic. See what happens with Dame in Portland. See what happens with the Lakers and Anthony Davis and LeBron James and Russell Westbrook. The Clippers are going to get back Kawhi Leonard and Paul George. I'm just saying, be careful when we talk about a team is going to come, they'll be back. Because that's one thing we like this. I don't know if that lightens the blow. I don't know. Lightens the loss. Oh, they'll be back. We don't know that. Hell, I don't know if Joe Burrow's going to be back in the playoffs. Because, hell, the Ravens are getting healthy. And we saw what the Ravens did in the draft, on defense especially. Not to mention all the teams that are going to retool. You never know. One thing I will say, though, and I'm not just going to end on a sore note for Dallas, is Luka is a superstar. We talked about this last episode, but Luka is a superstar. But I also said that there is no perfect player. And Luka alluded to that at his exit pretty much interview or exit press conference after the game. It's going to one reason why I think it's going to be tough for Dallas, because they have some tough decisions to make. One, do you pay Jalen Brunson? Jalen Brunson has earned himself some money in this playoffs, but is he good enough to be Luka's second running mate? Especially when you're talking about a Luka Doncic who dominates the ball. He kind of has that James Harden, Houston Rockets feel. He just dominates the ball. Not saying that that's bad, but at least for him. But there's some players that just dominate the ball and work and play better with the ball in their hands. And Luka Doncic is for sure one of those players. So how does that leave Jalen Brunson? So shouts out to Jalen Rose from Jalen Jacoby, of course, ESPN. He said, look, if Dallas has some decisions you have to make. You're going to need a rim protector because Max Kleber and Dwight Powell's not it. Again, shouts out to Jalen Rose. He pretty much, I think he's the first and only person I heard say, what about Rudy Gobert? Because we've heard stories or reports that it's pretty much Rudy, I think, said it's either me or him. And when I say him, I mean Donovan Mitchell. But what do you do with Jaylen Brown? You're going to need to get better. But then, and I also said that they need another scorer. They need another player that can consistently put the ball on the ground and get points. But I have to think about that, because it goes back to what I just said. Luka Doncic is a ball dominant player. And Luka Doncic, while he will get somebody open, he took like 18 shots himself in games 5 of the Western Conference Finals. And I think he went 3 for 13 from 3. He alone went 3 for 13. What do you do? What is Dallas going to do with Spencer Dinwiddie? What are they going to do with Davis Bertans? What are they going to do with Jalen Brunson? What are they going to do with Dorian Finney-Smith? Well, I think they have Dorian Finney-Smith locked up. Oh, but of course, Tim Hardaway Jr. comes back. So there's just a lot of decisions. I do think that Luka. I talked about this with James Harden. You have to come into the season in shape. It's hard when you now. I understand he's still young. He's only 22, 23. Luka Doncic is. But it's something to be said where look at the players that have to play themselves into shape instead of players that come in. In fact, no. Look at the players that come into shape and take supreme care of their bodies. Some of the known players that we know is Steph Curry, LeBron James, Russell Wilson. They're always in the mix or always talked about in the elite class or class of players that can win it all because your body is not as tired. Your body is not as you're not overworking to try to get yourself into shape. Look at how James Harden's seasons have looked towards the end. Now, no, I'm not wishing that upon Luka, but what I'm saying is you have to come into the season in shape because I don't know what was going to happen with Dallas, but there could be a possibility you got to do it on your own until maybe the trade deadline or maybe even the whole season, and that's going to be taxing on the body. Also, you're going to, I know it's easier said than done, but you're going to have to be able to work on your defense. They just the same way Dallas was hunting Chris Paul in the second round of the playoffs, Golden State was hunting Luka Doncic. Hell, you had Andrew Wiggins look like a number 1 overall pick. I think Luka is a superstar. I think it's really no question at this point if he's a top 10 player. Some people can even argue top 5. Some people can argue top 3. But in order for the statement that's always said to be true, which is they will be back, just as great as Luka was, he has some improvements that needs to happen. Dallas as a whole needs some improvements because trust and believe. There's a lot of players that we didn't see a lot this year that are coming back. Excuse me. Especially in the Western Conference. Like, people are going to be reminded just how good Kawhi Leonard is. Or people are going to be reminded just how good of a duo LeBron James and Anthony Davis is. People are going to be reminded just how, people have now been reminded just how good Golden State was when Klay Thompson is healthy, and Steph Curry, and Draymond Green. Not to mention the fact that what are they going to do with James Wiseman, who was a 2nd overall pick in the draft, or third or second. All I'm just saying is, congratulations to Dallas. But there's a lot that needs to be done for them to get back to it, to where, get back to at least the Western Conference Finals next year. So, and again, as I'm recording this, Boston and Miami are going on right now. I'm going to go on a limb and say that by the time I record my episode for Wednesday, which will be a day before the NBA Finals starts, I'm going to assume that Boston's going to win this series. And it's not a disrespect to Miami. It's what we're seeing. Boston is a better team. Now, also, Boston's the healthier team at this point. And I know that's crazy when you have, Robert Williams in and out the lineup, Marcus Smart. But Miami is limping. You have Jimmy Butler, who can't get any elevation on his shot. Kyle Lowry has the meanest limp. Like, Kyle Lowry, he shouldn't be playing with a hamstring injury. Tyler Euro isn't. It's a lot. And the last thing that you want, especially a team that is not that good offensively, I think that Miami, just like Phoenix, kind of overachieved in the regular season. Phoenix completely overachieved, being the number one overall seed, but Miami overachieved, I think, offensively. Now, I don't know if it's just because he's not confident, but we expected more from Bam. Kyle Lowry. I mean, there's been, 2 games? Now, I also understand with injury, of course, but I think there's been 2 games where Kyle Lowry has finished the game with 0 points. Kyle Lowry, who is a multi-time All-Star, also NBA champion. Multiple games with 0 points. And I don't remember who said it, man. But shouts out to them that said it. There's a reason why there's all the players in the NBA are supposed to be in the NBA. NBA is the best league when we talk about talent. But you're playing Max Strus. You're playing Gabe. Was it Gabe York Gabe York or something? You're playing a lot of undrafted players. And there's a reason. I think I heard Keyshawn Johnson say it. Now, I don't think he was the originator that said it, but I heard him say it. There's a reason why there's undrafted in front of their name. I mean, I think there's 2 games in a row where Max Strus has not scored. And we know P.J. Tucker is known for his defense. So he's not really the most offensive player. All I'm saying is, by the time we talk, when I do my NBA Finals preview, I have a feeling it's going to be Golden State against Boston. Boston is the better team against Miami. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown are the 2 best players, at least so far in this matchup, seeing as though Jimmy Butler has suffered injuries. Al Horford has been a godsend for Boston. Bam Adebayo has not shown up most of the time. I think the anomaly game was the 31-point game he had. And he had an 18-point game, which is close to his average, pretty much there at his average in the regular season, but hasn't done much in the playoffs. I just think it's going to be Golden State and Boston. And if I'm wrong, I have no problem coming here and saying I'm wrong. But if I'm right, by the next time you see me, I will be doing an NBA Finals preview with the Golden State Warriors and the Boston Celtics. So, let's move on. The NBA, I don't think I talked about this last episode, but all NBA teams came out. First team, Luka, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, Giannis, Nikola Jokic. Second team is Steph, Ja, DeMar DeRozan, Kevin Durant, Joel Embiid. Third team, CP3, Trae Young, LeBron James, Pascal Siakam, and Karl Anthony Towns. Now, we talk about this year after year after year. I think these last 2 years have definitely been more prevalent, has definitely kind of driven this need home. And that is, I think when we talk about the All-NBA teams, just scrap the positions. And just the first team is the 5 best players that year. The second team is the next 5 best players. And this argument comes up because this is the second year in a row that the runner-up for the MVP did not finish first team. And that is Joel Embiid. Now, yes, I understand that Luka has had a great season. I understand that Jason Tatum had a great season. I know people see what happened to Phoenix in the playoffs and want to pretty much question the Devin Booker. But Devin Booker was the best player on Phoenix this entire regular season. Of course, the All-NBA team is the regular season award. Jason Tatum, yes, we understand how good they were, especially post-January. Giannis, I think, finished third in MVP. But there has to be, again, we're talking about I think that there's no way there's no way the runner up for MVP does not finish first team. Now, if it was a guard, he would. If it was a forward, he would. But because it's two centers, Nikola Jokic and Joel Embiid, one of them has to go on the second team. That just doesn't seem right to me. Just doesn't seem right. Now, again, you can question for days. I mean, a lot of questions I hear is how Steph Curry didn't make the first team, or John Moran didn't make the first team, and I don't know, Jason Tatum did. Or how Kevin Durant made the second team and he missed a bunch of games. How Pascal Siakam made the third team and not Jimmy Butler. You know, those questions are, you know, you can understand. You can understand those questions. I understand, you know, you can slide Devin Booker to the 3 because he did play. No, I don't think he plays small forward. But, you know, I get those questions. But one thing that has to be addressed is how is it, again, just scrap the positions. Scrap the positions and have the 5 best players this season. So that means I'll probably take out Jason Tatum, probably put him on the second team, and put Nikola Jokic at the top. I mean, not Nikola Jokic, put Joel Embiid at the first team. Problem solved. You can have an argument. Should John Moran or Steph Curry be in the first team? But at least they're on a team. But the biggest, egregious mistake was having the person that finished second in MVP not even make a first team. And this is the second year that this happened. It's got to be better, man. Got to be better. Let's move forward. Shouts out to Colin Kaepernick, man. Let's move over to football a little bit. Shouts out to Colin Kaepernick, man. He got a workout for the Raiders. I didn't think that would ever happen. Now, I don't know. Just because he got a workout doesn't mean that he's on the team. But for a while now, he wasn't even getting a workout. A lot of people want to harken back to the workout debacle where he was supposed to work out at the Atlanta Falcons facility, and a couple minutes before he changed that and it went to his own field and then went to control himself. And a lot of teams said, no, I'm not doing it. I know media pundits like Stephen A. Smith had a lot to say about it. And probably was like, oh, he ruined his chance. We get that. But I'm happy that whether he gets an opportunity or not, which I think he should, I'm happy that he at least got. I'm glad that I was wrong, because I didn't think he would ever get a workout again, especially after. Now again, and I talked about this a couple episodes ago. I don't know what was in the agreement that he signed with the league, but once he signed it, I didn't think we would ever see Colin Kaepernick even get a workout. And the fact that he did, that leaves, I hope that leaves the door open for at least a return or other teams. Because apparently, from what I heard, the workout went all right. So even if he doesn't make it on the Raiders, I would love to see him be on another team. I think that, look at the Seahawks situation. I think that he's better than Drew Lock. I think he's better than Geno Smith. Now, I don't think that he should get a job before maybe, I don't know, Baker Mayfield. Maybe, I don't know, Cam Newton. But I do want to see Colin Kaepernick back in the league. And I think that this is the first step to do that, which is getting an actual workout. Not just have him come in to talk to him, i.e. Pete Carroll. Actually give him a workout. So I'm happy for him. An unpopular topic of the day has to go. Unpopular topic of the day before we go. I said a bunch of episodes ago that there are big days in sports. Big days because the sport kind of revolves around those days. You know, the NBA draft, or drafts for NBA and NFL. Drafts, trade deadlines, training camps, season openers, special days. When I say special days, like Christmas for the NBA or Thanksgiving for NFL, those big days for sports. The start of Wimbledon, you know what I mean? Like those big days for sports. Then there's also big days for media. And one of them is the annual overanalyze OTAs. And there's always a player that doesn't show up to OTAs. And of course, the media will spend days upon days dissecting why that player should have been at OTAs. Is that player upset with the team? Does this mean the team's not going to be good? Does this mean that this player isn't serious about sports? Does it mean that this player wants to trade? The media is big with that. And this year, without fail, is Lamar Jackson. So Lamar Jackson did not show up to OTAs, and you hear people saying he's not serious. He's not serious about winning, even especially after last year. He should be to OTAs, and I can't take them seriously because their star quarterback is not going to OTAs, which, by the way, the O stands for optional. So what is the unpopular topic of the day? The unpopular topic of the day is specifically geared towards OTAs. And it either should be mandatory, which then you have to change the name to OTAs to maybe MTAs. Mandatory. I think it's mandatory. I think it's optional team activities, I believe. So I think you'll change. It either has to be mandatory or eliminate OTAs altogether. Because there should be no reason why we spend days talking about players not showing up. There shouldn't be. All right, you shouldn't call it OTAs with an expectation that everyone's going to show up. That should not be the case. It's optional. Optional. Hell, not everyone shows. Spoiler alert. Not everyone shows up to OTAs. Like Lamar Jackson said, there is plenty of quarterbacks, plenty of running backs, plenty of star wide receivers that do not show up to OTAs. That does not mean that they don't care about their team. It doesn't mean that they're not serious about it. They just don't show up to OTAs. Optional. It's just year after year after year. I just think, either you you make it mandatory. Because the last thing that should happen is something that is mandatory be hovered over my head like it's mandatory. Wait. Something that is optional should be hovered over my head and hung over my head like it's mandatory. OTAs are optional, bro. So if I decide not to show up, do not then go, which happens every year. Do not go on media outlets and question a player's want to win. It's mandatory. You don't know. You know what could be happening? They could be training on their own and just didn't feel like flying to OTAs. In fact, I wonder how many players, like how many quarterbacks, how many star players, the ratio between going to OTAs and winning a Super Bowl. I'm sure the ratio is not the best. All I'm saying is, we need to stop holding so much weight to OTAs, especially if it's optional. So either you make it mandatory, because then it wouldn't be called OTAs, maybe MTAs. Or you just eliminate it, because there should be no reason, like I said, you hang a star player not showing up over their head for something that's mandatory. And it's only the star players, because I'm sure there's a lot of, if we talk about the Lamar Jackson case, I'm sure there's a lot of defensive players that didn't show up. There's a lot of other offensive players that didn't show up. But because it's Lamar Jackson, because you're a star player, they're going to talk about it. And that is not right. So there you have it. That's been today's episode of the Unpopular Podcast. I appreciate you guys. If you want an Unpopular Podcast shirt, hoodie, sweater, long sleeve, joggers, the link is in the description below. I have multiple different colors, multiple different designs. Get your Unpopular Podcast merch today. Also, please subscribe to if you're listening. I'm trying to get the algorithms going, so it would definitely mean a lot to me. And until next time, much love.